10 wrestlers who shockingly quit WWE during a storyline. Let's watch.
1, 2, is this on?
Despite seeming so larger than life on screen, wrestlers are only human. Just like us, they can grow unhappy and burned out in the workplace.
You take my career, you try to shit can that didn't work. You don't care about a human being's life.
On top of this, they might have to work to the point where walking away is the only option. For this video, we're highlighting various examples of talent that have quit over the years, as we cover 10 wrestlers who walked out on the company. By the summer of 2002, Stone Cold Steve Austin had been fed up of WWE's creative for a while. His character was going around in circles, as old storylines were being rehashed with far less stakes. From being paired with Scott Hall in a middle of the card match at WrestleMania, and then no showing Raw the night after, to the tiresome angle with Ric Flair which had no direction. Steve had requested to work with Eddie Guerrero and they were set to face off on pay-per-view.
Okay. I remember this.
But the final straw for Austin creatively came after he was booked to lose a King of the Ring qualifier on Raw with no build against the up-and-coming Brock Lesnar.
Really, that's what we're gonna do? Because if we are, I ain't f***ing coming.
The following week, WWE told their side of the story with a hit piece-like telling of events on their confidential show.
I mean,
It always worked that way, but when someone won't sit down with you, they refuse to show up. They've screwed you.
He made the biggest mistake of his professional career.
This is where they coined their iconic phrase, Austin took his ball and went home.
He spits in the face of everyone who ever supported him, spits in the face of everyone in this organization.
Shut up. You wanted to make him a jobber. I would have spat in your face too. The fuck? You not finna play with me. I'm Stone Cold Steve. Yeah, I don't blame him.
Who helped him become the talent that he is.
Meanwhile on Raw, The Rock returned a month early to fire a warning to anyone else on the roster that was unhappy.
If there's anybody in the back that does not want to be with this company, then just like the slogan says, you get the F out.
In 2003, JR mended fences that allowed Stone Cold to return and finish up his in-ring career at WrestleMania 19.
And sometimes you make decisions you regret. That was one of them, and I own up to it.
After 2 years of great success, Brock Lesnar had got his fill of wrestling come the start of 2004. This was mainly due to the grueling travel schedule.
And Brock comes up to me and says, I can't take this anymore.
I have a very strong feeling a lot of these are going to be obviously because of Vince, because Vince likes to play with people. Like,
travel overseas all the time. I like to be home. I like to hunt and fish.
I was built to be in the ring.
Humiliate people.
I wasn't built to get from ring to ring.
Yeah.
Lesnar had ambitions of playing in the NFL and made up his mind to leave in February of 2004, walking away from a 7-year, $6 million contract.
That was to Vince right there. That wasn't to the fans. Everybody took that the wrong way.
After a brief stint with the Minnesota Vikings, the WWE tried to prevent Lesnar wrestling in Japan, resulting in a legal battle which Brock won. Lesnar later expressed interest in joining Kurt Angle in TNA. However, the company were unwilling to give Brock a big money contract on the same level as Angle.
He said, hey, what are you making? And I told him what I was making. He said, if you can get me that, I'll come. And I approached TNA and they said no.
In 2022, Lesnar was said to have walked out on WWE again, this time during a SmackDown show after Vince McMahon was forced to retire due to the former chairman's misconduct allegations coming to light. Although Brock ended up appearing on the show, we later learned that the reason for the walkout was as a result of Lesnar also being involved in the controversy surrounding McMahon.
Be a monster.
no, like,
At the start of 2001, Jerry Lawler and his wife, the Cat, were featured in a storyline with the right to censor. In the middle of the feud, the Cat was abruptly released from the WWF after the creative said she was hard to work with.
Oh, mate, would you do me a favor and just tell him to call me back later? I'm busy right now.
This came as news to many, including the King, who following discussions with both JR and Vince McMahon, chose to quit the company in solidarity with his wife.
Last Tuesday night, the Cat was released by the WWF. Jerry the King Lawler walked down right alongside with her.
I said, well, what's the reason? What did she do? And Vince said, I really don't know. He said, not my decision. And I said, not your decision? Well, whose decision is it? He said, I guess creatives.
Usually when someone has a bad attitude or something's wrong in the company, they'll call them aside and pull them in their talent relations room and talk to them. Nothing has happened like that.
I said, JR, I don't believe this. You know, there's something more to it than this. And he said, well, that's just all Vince.
seems so tame and normal. from what I'm used to seeing.
Told me, and he said, I was just wondering if you could tell her.
She would ask for the logic behind something that she was going to do. If you're a good producer, you got no problem with talent asking questions because you can explain it and sell it to them. But in any event, they lost patience.
It was just a short time later that Lawler would learn his wife was having an affair with another man.
I want to get naked!
This caused King to end their relationship. Shortly after, Lawler was asked to come back by WWE.
No, after he done stood up for you and walked out on his these hoes ain't loyal. That's messed up.
WWF and made his return the night after Survivor Series 2001.
But tonight with Trish Stratus and Stacy Keibler in the broad panties match and the King's back, all is right with the world.
In 2021, Jeff Hardy was
Then he just let loose.
at the lowest point of the WWE totem pole
That's
he'd ever
messed
been
up.
as a single star. And with Matt Hardy enjoying a featured weekly presence in rival promotion All Elite
That's
Wrestling,
bogus.
fans were calling for Jeff to reunite with his brother and join him
Ah.
in AEW. However, Jeff was still under contract until the end of 2022. But after he walked out of a tag match during a house show, many questioned if Jeff's days with WWE were numbered.
It was one of the smartest things I've ever done because everything worked out so perfectly.
Some feared Jeff had relapsed after a period of sobriety. Jeff denied these claims and insinuated that he walked out on the match because he was ready to leave the company. WWE, who had feared he'd relapsed, asked Jeff to enter rehab, but after he refused, Jeff was granted his release. Then after learning Jeff had passed the test, the company offered him a return, including a place in the Hall of Fame. Hardy refused and instead signed for AEW. Fans have speculated that Jeff walked out of the tag team match on purpose in an attempt to get fired. Next, we have an example of 4 wrestlers
that's
who
what that-
walked
that's
out
what
on
it sound
another
like.
company to join the World Wrestling Federation. We're talking about when the Radicals jumped to the WWF in 2000. The men were a part of a syndicate of wrestlers that were unhappy with their positions in WCW and wanted out.
We weren't happy with that structure. They totally treated us like we had, like we were the enemy.
This group also included Rey Mysterio, Conan, and Shane Douglas. However, the WWF were not interested in either of those 3, so they stayed put. Guerrero, Benoit, Saturn, and Malenko, on the other hand, were eventually granted their releases.
Look at Eddie Guerrero. Don't that look familiar? Oh my God, he want to be Eddie Guerrero so bad, please.
But only after an incident between Benoit and WCW
Took his whole swag bar for bar.
agent Mike Graham forced this to happen.
And Mike said, well, fuck you guys, I'll stab every one of you. He threatened us. I called Time Warner's and said that they were supplying an unsafe work environment for all of us. And we made it to a big fucking deal where they had no choice but to let us go.
Benoit didn't trust Graham because he was good friends with Kevin Sullivan, and there was heat between Sullivan and Chris due to Benoit getting with Kevin's then wife, Nancy.
Because I'm Kevin's friend? And you want to fire me? I said, I'll cut your fucking head off.
After being disillusioned with WWE's creative for years while also being riddled with injuries, Ryback was adamant about not re-signing with the company in 2016. In his final months, the big guy clashed with the higher-ups. He was upset over the pay structure and didn't want the company to have control of his social media. Ryback was completely checked out by the end. Fans could tell this by how he taunted ex-rival CM Punk by copying his taunts and moves on screen.
There, the one side is completely off. Could be 99 time. Well, this is the mentality Ryback has always had. He's always felt that. Supersedes anyone else. He always felt.
Ryback even got in Vince McMahon's face after Vince scolded the big guy for doing the feed me more taunt despite being a heel.
I wanted to let my contract run out, and I was threatened. I was told they're gonna job me out, pull me off TV, and fire me. I walked out. I told them to take me off their TV show. I was asked if I wanted to see Vince. I said no, in not so nice words.
Vince McMahon gets up out of his little chair in the gorilla position and was furious. And he comes marching over to me, in which he says to me, "Are you fucking stupid?" I literally get right back in his face, and I go, "No, are you fucking stupid?" Vince McMahon went back and sat down and put on his headset and didn't say a goddamn word to me. Business has been so shitty for so long because of one and his greed. And I promise you it won't be a good ending for him.
It was just a few weeks later that Ryback walked out for good.
Okay, he walked out. He didn't get let go, but still. He got in his face. Ryback gave him that energy back. He sat his ass down and put his headphones on, and he ended up leaving. He didn't get fired. He left.
In 2017, Neville had reached his ceiling in WWE. He'd previously impressed as a member of Monday Night Raw.
Get ready, Raw Flow! Is he gonna hit it?
Oh!
But upon doing all he could do in the cruiserweight division, many expected him to return to wrestling as part of the main Raw brand. However, after being asked to lose a match to Enzo Amore for a second time, and with no plans laid out for the future, Neville felt that he had to quit then and there. Neville's previous opponent in the cruiserweight division, Austin Aries, had felt the same creative frustrations in the months prior, which resulted in his exit. However, unlike Aries, Neville was not granted his release straight away. Neville remained under contract until August 2018, which was when he officially left the company, a whole 10 months after he'd initially walked out. A battered and creatively stifled CM Punk was on a collision course for danger prior to his WWE departure in 2014. He was upset about being snubbed in the main event of WrestleMania and prevented from getting movie roles, sponsorship deals, and appearances by the company, while other wrestlers were given them instead. Not to mention the bad creative and being made to wrestle while hurt, sick, and in a bad state of mind. Punk was miserable and had to leave before something even more serious occurred.
What's he gonna do?
The WWE doesn't do anything to protect the wrestlers. They do things to protect themselves. If I didn't leave and walk out, I would be dead. I was sick and I was hurt and I was messed up.
Punk's departure and subsequent lawsuits that came from it forced some big changes within the company, such as talent being allowed more time off, especially when hurt or in poor mental state. In 1995, Jeff Jarrett was in the midst of his run as a country singer, where it was said to be revealed that it was actually the roadie that was singing Jeff's songs all along.
Spend my days working hard on the go. With the hands on the clock, keep spinning too slow. I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight.
Sound familiar? That's the real Double J, Jesse James.
But before this could happen, both men promptly quit the WWF. This went down after the In Your House 2 event after Jeff had lost to Shawn Michaels. Jarrett and the roadie Brian James were meant to do their split following the bout, although they instead exited the ring, left the building, and then the entire company as a whole.
We're going over the performance. Vince, can we reconsider this? I really don't think we should do this. No, you really didn't even give me the time of day. I don't want to do this angle at all. Matter of fact, I think it's very detrimental to my career. So much so I don't want to do it. I'm just going to go home with no plan in place.
Why give them the angle to cause further confusion? The end of the story is Double J losing the belt to Shawn.
I just literally left because Jeff was. I just went with him because I was stupid.
Double J felt it was too early to do the breakup and didn't want to stay if it meant that was the direction. Brian James agreed and left in support of Jeff. Jarrett returned later in the year for a month, only to leave again.
But you told him, like, I'm injured now, I'm going to stay home and I'm not coming back for the rest of the contract. Is that how it goes?
Yes.
He sat out the rest of his contract and signed for WCW in October 1996. On the May 16, 2022 edition of Raw, women's tag team champions at the time, Naomi and Sasha Banks, walked out during the show due to creative issues. WWE released an official statement regarding the incident and subsequently stripped both competitors of their titles. The company also addressed the events on both Raw and SmackDown of that week.
When Sasha Banks and Naomi let us all down. Their actions disappointed millions of WWE fans. They have been suspended indefinitely.
Naomi and Sasha would officially exit the company once their contracts expired. Naomi joined Impact before returning to WWE in 2024. While Banks wrestled in Japan for a bit and then signed for AEW. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar video of 10 wrestlers who ruined their opponent's move. Hope you had a great day. And I'll see you next time.
Alright, y'all, that's gonna do for this reaction. Make sure you leave some like, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you on the next one. Toodles.